Hi, this is my next video on groups. So as always, we need to know what the definition of a group is. So groups are those social aggregates that involve mutual awareness and the potential for interaction. Mutual awareness is where individuals know about the activities of the group members and the overall progress of the group. So, for example, a football crowd is too large to be considered a group, as mutual awareness is not possible. You could also maybe use the example, if you walked around town, there's lots of people there, you're not a group either, because there is no mutual awareness, you're not working towards a common goal. So that sort of hopefully clarifies what a group is. Right then, so we're looking at the 4 stages of developing a cohesive and effective group. So Tuckman 1965 said that there are 4 stages that we need to know about. So the first one is the forming stage, the familiarisation stage, where the group members get to know each other and their strengths and their weaknesses. Now within this, there is need for a high dependence on the leader for guidance. The group members are getting to know each other. There's very little agreement on the aims of the team, and the individual roles are unclear. The team leader needs to give strong direction. So that's stage 1. Then hopefully your group will progress into the storming stage. The storming stage, members question the group structure and compete for status. So a few more things to add into that. The group decisions are difficult and team members are establishing themselves in the group. So the leaders will start to make themselves known, the quieter people might go off to the side. The focus is clearer than it was in the forming stage, and this is where cliques start to form. And there may be power struggles. There'll be various people that want to be in charge. Think about the England rugby team. We've got the example here of Dylan Hartley. He really, he's managing a team in the England rugby team that is made up of captains from his club. So it must be a real struggle to sort of make sure that the status that he is after is where he wants it, because I'd imagine lots of people in that group would like his job. The need for environmental compromise. So we need to make sure that we're giving a little bit of give and take with the people in the group. And the leader has a more advisory role, so maybe just taking a step back a little bit from what is required. So then we move through to the norming stage. Okay, a need for common goals is recognised and members begin to work together. So we're starting to get some progress now. So a little bit more on the norming stage. Much more agreement and consensus of opinion. The roles and responsibilities are accepted, so we know who's in charge, who's not in charge. You might have different leaders for different sections. So a rugby example, you might have a leader of the forwards and a leader of the backs, and the roles are just starting to become more accepted. Decisions are made through group agreement, so they're now agreeing on things. A strong sense of commitment and unity. Team members are social and friendly with each other. Now that's interesting. It's now bringing the social element into it and friendliness. And respect for the leader and the leadership is shared. So we're starting to become more effective at the norming stage. Then we come over to the performing stage. Each member is aware of their role within the team and feels they can contribute to the success of the team. So the example down here is of the England rugby team. I think that was when they were around winning the World Cup against the All Blacks. Every single person within that team knew their role and everybody agreed with it, and they had a clear leader in Martin Johnson, and their group was very effective and cohesive. Think about your own groups that you're involved in, and are you at this stage? So a few more things on performing. More strategies, a clear vision and an aim. No interference of participation from the leader. Focus is on achieving the goals. The team is trusted to get on with their job in hand. Disagreements occur but are resolved within the team. Team is able to work and to be personable. The team does not need to be instructed or assisted. Team members may ask for assistance from the leader with personal and interpersonal issues. So that is the 4 stages of developing a cohesive and effective group according to Tuckman 1965. What I'd like you to do is think about the groups that you're involved with and try and explain to yourself what stage of stage of group cohesiveness you are. Right, so this is where for me it gets a little bit more interesting, and we need to know about Steiners Model of group effectiveness. Now, what they are saying is that the actual productivity of a group, which is here, now this means the degree of success of a team's performance at a given time during an event. Now, the actual productivity equals the potential productivity, so what the capabilities are of the group, minus the faulty processes, so the factors that can go wrong within that team. So we need to know what these faulty processes are. Now, for the A-level PE that we're studying, for the OCR, we need to know that there's the Ringlemann Effect down here, and we also need to know about social loafing. So Ringlemann Effect is associated to coordination losses, breakdown in teamwork. I'm going to look at that in my next slide. And the next one is social loafing, motivation losses due to social loafing. So this is where the withdrawal of effort by team members. Now, what you need to try and get your head around is this is what Steiner says up here. Okay, now have a pause of that and make sure you're happy with this sign here. Okay, this equals. Okay, so and the actual productivity of a group is potential productivity minus the faulty processes, which are the two down here. Right, so my next slide, we're going to get our teeth into the Ringlemann Effect and social loafing. Right, so we move on to the Ringlemann Effect. So I'll remind you what that is. The Ringlemann Effect is a faulty process due to the breakdown in teamwork, when the effectiveness of the team to operate cannot be sustained. So we're looking at what the factors of the Ringlemann Effect are. So the first one is large group numbers. So large teams, maybe for a rugby union team, there is more likely to have a breakdown in teamwork. The success of an attacking move might rely on several players coordinating the timing of their runs. So if you think about in a rugby, to score a try, you might have 50 passes, all relying on one person at a time. But the more people we have involved, okay, the larger group numbers, there's a bigger chance that we're going to get the Ringlemann Effect. The lack of timing. For example, a football player mistimes a run and is caught offside. That is a Ringlemann Effect. And the last one that we're going to look at is the lack of understanding of the tactics. So a hockey player who's defending may not understand the half press, and so the opposition gain possession in front of the goal. Now think about what we can do as a leader, or how we could reduce these effects to make sure our group is effective. If we look over here and how we could reduce the impact of the Ringlemann Effect, these are some of the things that we could do. Allocate clear roles within the team. Repetition, practice of set plays in training. Prioritise effective communication of tactics to team members and select good communicators. So that is the Ringlemann Effect. Now, some people get confused between this and social loafing, so make sure you understand the Ringlemann Effect is about the breakdown in coordination, and it is a lot to do with the more people that we have can bring about the Ringlemann Effect. So just leading on from the Ringlemann Effect, I want you to have a look at some of these photographs. So I'll try and organise them in a way that they're fairly easy to clear. So you can see down here we've got a badminton game. Okay, we'll try and get him out of the way. We've got the badminton game, so it's just 1v1. So the chance of the Ringlemann Effect happening are very slim. Well, they're impossible really, because there is no group. But then as soon as we bring in another person, so this group is only 2 people, but in this shot we can see that there's a breakdown in communication or coordination, resulting in both these people hitting the shuttlecock. So there's an example of the Ringlemann Effect in badminton. Okay, try and maybe think of your own that you could use. Over here I've given you a football example. So here we've got 5-a-side. There's less chance of the Ringlemann Effect happening with those lot, whereas if you played 11-a-side football, there's a good chance that there's going to be some breakdown in communication between maybe your 2 centre-backs not coordinating very well, or a long ball going over the top to your right midfield. If this person isn't aware of that tactic, they're going to break down that communication, that coordination, and the Ringelmann effect will appear. Okay, then we move on to social loafing. So social loafing is a withdrawal of effort and caused by reduced motivation, leading an individual to coast for a period of play or even the whole match. So if you think about loafing, of taking it lazy, loss of motivation. So these are the reasons why we might get social loafing: lack of accountability, lack of self-confidence, perceived or actual lack of ability, or the task is too difficult. So if you're thinking, oh, I've got no confidence, you're going to potentially have the social loafing effect. Or a perceived or lack of ability, you might think, I can't do this, I'm not good enough, it's too hard. You might give up. Or if the task is actually generally too difficult, we'll get social loafing. The perception that others are not trying, you might think, well, he's not trying, I'm not going to try. Before you know it, the whole side isn't trying. The individual efforts are not valued, so you might be playing fantastically well, but getting no reward or extrinsic motivation, or just a pat on the back from your coach, so you might lose motivation that way. Off the pitch problems such as emotional or social issues, so you might bring in issues onto the pitch, which could then result in you not playing or not caring quite as much. And the lack of identity or poorly defined team roles. So think now what we can do to reduce it. So here's some ideas how to reduce social loafing. So give credit for personal successes, such as highlighting assists or the tackle count. Give encouragement, attribute success to internal unstable reasons. Now we haven't touched on that just yet, the attribution theory, but stick with me, we'll look at that. Encourage social support between players. Use peer pressure to maintain motivation. Include team building activities. Really important for me that we have got this social support between players. If someone's not playing very well, it's up to you as a team to try and support that person. Right? That will stop, hopefully, social loafing. Giving clarity and or give clear roles and responsibilities to the individual so you'll know what's going on. And punish social loafing. Okay, select team players who are less likely to social loaf. So this would look at dropping players. If they're not playing very well at training, they put no effort in, let's punish it. Let's get it out of the game to make sure it's not going to happen again. Right, as always, I'll just put that on hold so you can have a good look at that. And then finally, I've just had a quick look for some pictures of some social loafing. Not a great picture, but you can see that these chaps in the white, they're making this carrying the beam very difficult. They're social loafing, so these people having to put in more effort to compensate for these two social loafers. Get rid of that. A really good example that you would maybe could use in your exam is the tug of war. And it's really easy not to try in the tug of war and try to rely on other people. So social loafing, you can spot the two ladies here not doing a right lot, very obvious. And finally, well, I've got another tug of war example for you, maybe not quite so clear. Maybe more about the Ringelmann effect. This person is coordination's gone, or maybe he's just laying down having to sleep, I don't know. All right, so that concludes groups and the Ringelmann effect and social loafing. Hope it was all right. Thank you.